guys, thanks for stopping by my channel today. And if you are brand new to my channel, then definitely welcome. I'm really happy to have you here. I am excited to film this video today because I love favorites videos. And what was so ironic was that when I was sitting down to gather my stuff, I was like, oh, I was a little busy this month and I wasn't being diligent with writing my list of things as I went along. I was always a straight A student and I felt like, you know, got to do your homework. You got to be prepared. Well, I sat down this morning and I was like, oh my God, I'm not really prepared. I wasn't really jotting down my favorite things as we went along. And I'm like, not sure. This might be the first month where I don't actually do a favorites video. And then I thought, okay, let me evaluate. And now I have too much stuff. So I'm excited to film because I have a lot of things that I want to talk about today. I'm doing some makeup, high-end drugstore. I'm doing some skincare, high-end drugstore, and so I feel pretty content that I've type A personalitied my favorites list for you. So if you want to see what I've been loving for the month of April, then just keep watching. So I'm going to jump right in and let's start off with some makeup things. No, we're not. We're going to start off with the one thing that I know I'm going to forget to mention if I leave it to the end, since it's a category all on its own. What I'm loving right now is my shirt. This is from Target. It's a pretty pink pastel-y sort of plaid, which I think just looks oh so cute and sweet. It's by Morona, which is the Target brand, I believe. It's long enough to wear with leggings, unless you're really, really tall, which I am nowhere near, so it works for me. It is, when it comes to like tunic shirts, it is a little bit shorter than normal, so if you really like a longer tunic style shirt when you're wearing leggings, this might not work out for you. But I just love that it's long enough that I can get away with wearing wearing leggings with it and wearing it as a tunic. Plus it's super comfortable. It's really nice, light and airy. And I don't know why I'm flapping my arms like a chicken in order to demonstrate that. Anyway, it was at Target. It was really affordable. I will link it down below, as I will with all the other products. Okay, now we're going to start with makeup. I picked up some of their semi-new lip liners. They are officially called the gel lip liner. Sephora also makes a gel lip liner, which I love, and the Sephora one is about $12. That actually came as a recommendation from you guys. The Wet n Wild ones are about $3, which by comparison is obviously a little bit friendlier. I love them because they glide on so smoothly like a gel should, but they don't rub off oh so easily. And so those are kind of two things that I'm looking for in a lip liner. I'm not a fan of the color selection per se. Like there's only like 6 or 8 shades. I got 3 of them. They all look pretty similar, but they're really not. My favorite one is the Bare one. It's called Bare to Comment. And even though it's like the nudiest one, it's still a pretty dark nude. And so I can't wear it with some of my lighter lipsticks, which I'm not happy about because I really do like the formula so much. But it'll work. I also got Perfect Pout, and I think this is the peachy one. So it is peachy. It comes off as a little bit bright, kind of like a corally kind of bright shade, which I think will work really nice for the summer. Still is a little bit dark for really pale lip colors, and so that's not a problem because I really do still love the formula, but you just got to be careful with what lipsticks you wind up pairing it up with. A bright coral lipstick would work well with that one. The last one I have is called, wait a minute, it's not called Perfect Pout. They're just saying that this lip liner is generically a perfect pout. Excuse me. The corally one is called Think Flamingos. That is hilarious. The last one I got, I thought would be a little bit mauvier. It's actually called Never Petal Down, and it's kind of a bright pink. So again, as we go, it's like a berry pink. Again, as we go into summer, that'll wind up working out really nicely. Doesn't work well with some of my pale lip colors, but that's okay because I think the formula is great for only $3. You don't have to wind up sharpening it. They're good to throw in your makeup bag when you're running around. What's cool is because there are some lip liners that are really dry. Those are really comfortable enough that you can get away with lining your entire, not lining, you can fill in your entire lips with it and use it as a lip color because they aren't pale. And then you can top it with some kind of a lip gloss or balm. And so for $3 each, you certainly cannot go wrong. What else I've been loving is an oldie but goodie. So it's been around forever, but I decided I was going to pull it out because now it's warmer and I feel like this entire winter I've been doing kind of mauves and toned down pinks kind of everywhere. Cheeks, lips, a little bit on my eyes even. But now I want to warm it up. I want to get a little warmer. So by MAC, I've pulled out Warm Soul. This is the mineralized blush. Like I said, it's called Warm Soul. So it's a domed, I just ate my hair there. It's a domed baked blush, little bit marbleized, has a little bit of a shimmer to it, but very subtle. I love that it'll go with anything because it's kind of a neutral, it's kind of like a brownie peach. I am actually wearing it today, so it just kind of blends into your skin, gives it a little bit of warmth. This has always been one of my most favorite, most versatile blushes. I wasn't really using it in the winter. I have pulled that bad boy back out now to the front row. My next lip product was one that was kind of only talked about like quietly. Like it never like got all flashy and popular, but I kept hearing it like come up in conversation. A number of you guys recommended it to me in the comment section over time, but because it wasn't so wildly like famous, it was hard to keep remembering to pick one up. And so what I'm talking about is by Bare Minerals. It is the Gen Nude liquid matte lipstick. I mentioned in my Sephora VIB recommendation video that I just put up, I will link it here. I mentioned that I was done with liquid lipsticks, and it's because they are so drying. Nothing can last on your lips forever without sucking the life out of them. And I had worn them a lot over the winter, thinking that, you know, I didn't have sunburned lips, but you know what? I had cold, chapped lips, and they just weren't being helped by liquid lipsticks. And so right now it seems ironic that I'm talking about a liquid lipstick, but in fact, I find that this is much more like a liquid cream. So it doesn't rub off so easily, but it will rub off because it's not like glued to your lips the way some of the liquid lipsticks are. This one is called Swag, and it's just a really pretty, kind of rosy nude sort of shade. And I find that it will give me some color, will wear much more comfortably, like I said, than liquid lipsticks. It'll last longer than a gloss or a very, very creamy lipstick. And so I'm definitely going to be going back to get more. I just got one because I wanted to try it out, and I'm really impressed with it. Like people, like I said, they weren't like wildly popular, but I would hear people talking about them almost just very subtly. And I'm like, I have to find out what everybody's been talking about. And so I'm totally happy that I grabbed that. One of the individual shadow pans that I've been loving, and large in part to you guys, but also I've been loving it, is by Bobbi Brown. I took it out of the original packaging. This is called Champagne Quartz, and it's a very pretty warm champagne shimmery shade. The reason I've decided to bring it up and highlight it and then also talk about it is, first of all, this is a shadow that I've been using kind of every day. It's part of my go-to eye look, which, by the way, I have just finished filming and will be up very shortly what I've been doing with my eyes. And the reason I decided to do that video is because you guys called out that you really enjoyed the eye look that I had in my Best Highlighters for Mature Skin video and also my Sephora VIB sale recommendation video. A number of you asked me what I was wearing, and a number of you requested a tutorial, and so I actually just finished filming that, so that will be up. So of course I have to highlight the shadow that I think kind of brings that whole look together. I love Bobbi Brown shadows. They are a little bit expensive, but you do get a slightly larger pan size, and if you are going for shades that are so useful, you know, like obviously I don't recommend you get a lime green one in the Bobbi Brown because they're like $25 a pan. Lime green? Really? That was the color I randomly picked off the top of my head? Lime green? How many lime green shadows have you ever seen in your life? Anyway, if you get a very useful shade, it begins to justify the price. And so that was the guy that made a lot of appearances recently. It's one that I've been using virtually every day. And I did design that look around it, which will be coming soon. Love the Bobbi Brown shadows. I got my first products from Mally. These came from Ulta. These little guys are a set. It's called the Effortlessly Airbrushed Blush and Highlighter Duo or set or something. A really long name that doesn't really mean a lot to me, honestly, quite frankly. But what it is it's a combination blush. There's a peach version and a rose version. This is the peach version. And I have to tell you, these are wildly pigmented, like crazy pigmented. I'm enjoying the peach. I picked it because summer is coming. And so I wasn't really going into that pink. The pink is a little bit bright too. And because they're so pigmented, I was a little bit scared of it. Although it did take me like 20 minutes standing in Ulta, swatching both of them, trying to decide which one I was going to get. But what I also love was that it came with a highlighter. The highlighter is kind of a neutrally kind of warm goldish sort of highlighter. And this also, I have to tell you, wildly pigmented, very shimmery, not necessarily a subtle sort of highlighter. But every once in a while, just because I've got mature skin doesn't mean I need to wear the highlighter that matches it. And even though I just did that video on the good highlighters for mature skin, which this highlighter clearly did not make the cut of, that still doesn't mean that I don't enjoy an overglowing sort of cheekbone every once in a while. I want to highlight the Milani Make It Last setting spray. It comes in a very pretty frosted glass bottle. I call this my blender. Like, this isn't like a mattifying spray. I mean, it is a setting spray. And I think you can even use it to prime your face like you would use a primer water. Yeah, it does say prime, correct, and set. I'm not quite sure how it corrects, but whatever. I don't use it for that. This is like my blender. Like, I'm not looking for it to make my makeup last forever, even though it claims 16 hours, but whatever. I don't really think makeup setting sprays are really equipped to do that unless they're made of glue. But I use this as my final setting spray step because I just want to take away the powderiness that might have developed during all of my layers of makeup application. I want them all to kind of set together, blend nicely, and last for most of the day. I also use this spray as a refresher if I feel like I've done some makeup touch-ups or my skin might be getting like some dry patches as the day wears on. I use this guy to kind of freshen myself up. It actually reminds me quite a bit of the MAC Fix Plus. And that winds up being a good thing because it's not nearly as expensive. But also, to top everything off, it actually has a really pleasant smell. Of course, I got the Hoola Quickie Contour Stick. This is Hoola, my favorite bronzer ever, in a stick. And I had mentioned in one of my recent videos that I had just tried, actually. I think it was by Wet n Wild. I had tried their contour stick. And I was like, oh my gosh, why have I never used contour sticks before? Because I was always a powder gal. But now I've definitely ventured out and I am kind of loving at least cream contours. I'm not sure if I'm into cream highlighters yet, but I'm definitely into cream contours. And this is, like I said, it's from my favorite bronzer. Not too warm, not too cool, complements most skin tones. I think it's a nice creamy texture that blends out very, very nicely. And so I'm like basically just addicted to Hoola. One thing that I've mentioned before, just kind of generically in my favorites, was the nail polish by Essie, the Gel Couture Polish. It's the Twisted Bottle nail polish. They just came out with a bride's line, which has your very standard and typical kind of creamy white and a pastel pink and, you know, kind of those shades. And then randomly, they had this shade, which is actually the shade that I'm wearing right now. So before, in some of my previous videos, I had been using Posture Perfect, which was a milky, like baby blue, like a white baby blue. This one is called Sage You Love Me. Sage You Love Me. It's not really sage. It's like a green blue. It just completely caught my attention as a very different shade. And plus, I love the Gel Couture line. I promise you people, you can almost get like 2 weeks out of it without a chip. Usually by the end of the second week, like I've got like a chip here and a nick here. Totally like manageable, especially since it's been on there for about 2 weeks. And so I'm kind of addicted to this product too, but I was happy to get that shade because like I said, it's just like totally different. A couple of things that I mentioned in my Sephora VIB recommendations video, but I do just want to highlight here because they actually are some of my favorites. Even though that list was all of my Sephora favorites, this now is like the top of the list of the Sephora favorites. So I ventured out in the mascara world and I'm using by Benefit their Real Mascara. I love the brush. It's a fairly large brush and it's spiky. It's one of those plastic bristled brushes versus the ones that look like, what would you call that? Like fibers. This is more of the plastic. But what I love is at the end of it has little spikies. So when you want to attack individual lashes because they didn't get the attention that they deserved from the normal swipe of the wand, and you want to go after them individually, this little spiky guy is phenomenal. I have always been anti-spike ball because I felt like, I'm like, you're going to wind up like using it and applying it and you're going to have this ball at the end that's going to mess you up. She does not do that. she stays out of the way until you call her into action. And so because of that, I think their formula, of course, is really good. You can have the best looking wand, but if your formula isn't good, then you're SOL. You're out of luck. But I do enjoy their formula, and then the design of the wand and the brush make it a perfect little combination of mascara. I've used in some videos, and then I mentioned by Too Faced, this is the Love Light Prismatic Highlighter, Ray of Light. This one also made my highlighters for mature skin. It's very misleading. In the pan, it looks very reflective, but you know what? It is such a dense highlighter, and I mentioned that in that video, but it's such a dense highlighter that it doesn't overdo it when it comes to shine and shimmer. See, it's like right here, and it's not like blinding you, right? I actually am wearing it today. So it isn't like a naked highlighter, but it is not an overdone highlighter. Something else that I picked up somewhat recently, but of course I'm super happy with, it's by Viseart. It's the Petite Pro palette. And so this guy has 8 different shades. Like I said, I mentioned it in that Sephora recommendations video. It's got 8 different shades, whereas the Theory palettes only have 6. They look to me like they're about the same size of product overall, because the one in the 6-pack has bigger squares, and these are actually smaller. I love the Viseart shadows. What I love about this particular palette is that it's got your shimmers. It's got a gold, it's got a rust, and it's got a beautiful purple shimmer. As well as your typical, I have no room to swatch. I have to pause so I can go clean my hand and swatch. Hold on. So anyway, one more time, let me show you just with one swipe. There's a beautiful, like I said, there's a yellow gold, there's like a rose gold or like a burnt orange shimmer, as well as a really pretty, like, not dark, but not too light. Not too dark, not too light, purple shimmer as well. But there's also some matte shades, which kind of walk the line between being warm and cool. The darkest is kind of a deep gray. There's kind of a plum wine, and then there's just kind of a neutral brown. And I just think it's a really good combination of colors that allow you to create a broad range of looks. Like, it's not strictly a warm palette, it's not strictly a cool palette, and it's got shimmers and mattes. It's also got a great brow bone highlighter and a really nice champagne lid shade that's a shimmer based one. And so I just feel like when they decided they were only going to give you a couple of shades, they really went, it was very well thought out. And I appreciate when things are well thought out. Plus, there's no one shade on this palette where I'm like, what the heck are you doing there? You know, like you get like, you buy like individual palettes and there's always like a shade that's like so random. It's like, I don't even know if it's meant to get your attention. It pisses me off because I'm like, there is no, do you see what the rest of me likes in the rest of this palette? I like all warm tones or shimmery tones or whatever general consensus the palette is. And then they throw in that one random one. Well, this one doesn't have a random one. And I definitely appreciate that. Probably because you are paying a little bit more, paying a premium for these shadows, but I do think they're worth it. I have a couple of skin items, but I need to go clean because this is a mess, and I know inadvertently I'm going to touch my nose and not realize it till the video's over. Hold please. I want to talk now about a couple of products from CeraVe, which is very quickly becoming my favorite skincare brand in the drugstore. Not only because they're more expensive than some of the other lines in the drugstore, but I think their price point is because they're actually worth it. I had done a lot of research into some eye creams, and I just wasn't finding what I was looking for, like at Ulta or Sephora or at department stores. And I was like, you know what? In the meantime, I am just going to go with drugstore while I continue doing my research. And so I picked up the CeraVe Eye Repair Cream. It comes in this little tubey, which I like because a lot of the eye creams come inside the little jar, which I don't appreciate opening and exposing to the air and sticking my finger in it. That's just like contamination nation. So I like that it's in the little squeezy tube. And so what the ingredients are in this eye cream are primarily ceramides and hyaluronic acid. Both of those components have to deal with moisture, and both adding moisture and keeping moisture in your skin. And what that does is keep your fine lines from looking dried out. When you are adding moisture, you are adding life and you are adding depth to all of those kind of fine lines and wrinkles that you may be having or developing. And so that was what my primary concern was, making and was minimizing whatever fine lines I have that are developing in that particular area right now. And when it comes to the other ingredients that we want to work on our face and work on our eyes as well, you know, antioxidants, we want to, you know, protect that area from the sun and, you know, all those other things that we're looking for in some skincare. Well, I realized that I had, for example, vitamin C in the serum that I was using. And so focusing on plumping my fine lines with this particular eye product, and then, for example, taking my serum and just kind of dabbing it ever so lightly around my eyes, not near my eyes. I don't want to get it in there, which I've actually never had a problem with. My eyes have never reacted to date from any of the other eye products on my face, because I'm sure when you're sleeping on your pillow, you're moving some level of product around. So none of those facial products that I use have ever irritated my skin. And so I just apply my serum, my vitamin C collagen complex serum, a little bit around my eyes, so that my eyes can also benefit from some of those ingredients as well. Because I was looking for them all in one perfect package, and there is no such thing. And so that eye cream right now, which I thought was going to be temporary, I'm really, really liking. The other product from CeraVe that I've been loving recently, and it's because of the way they packaged it actually, this is their moisturizing cream. I've heard really good things about how good of a moisturizer this particular cream is, and it is. This is the guy that's normally sold in the big old tub for like, I don't know, $16 or $18. So it's a little bit expensive, and I'm like, that's gonna take me forever. And I didn't even try the product yet, so I didn't want to get that entire vat of cream initially. And then I happened to find this on the shelf. This is about $5, which might seem expensive. This is less than 2 ounces, but the cream itself in the vat is pretty expensive also. And so I guess proportionately it makes sense. But what I've been doing is carrying this in my bag. This is an amazing hand cream, and I have very dry skin on my hands, on my cuticles. It's awful. I can never do enough to keep them moisturized. But I love this cream. It doesn't have a major scent. It doesn't feel tacky or sticky. It blends in very nicely, feels very smooth, but also does a really nice job of moisturizing. And so I love that they sell it in this small little guy because he is transportable and much cheaper. Something I mentioned in my Trader Joe's review video, which was such a joy that I was able to find such really cool products at Trader Joe's. Definitely check it out. I will link it. But my favorite product out of that entire discovery is definitely the Micellar cleansing wipes. These are phenomenal. I've gone back already, and I bought a whole bunch of backups to have in stock in my home, so that way I never am without. These are like $4 for 20 of them. I love the towelette that they come with. It's not that typical kind of looks like bumpy little circles. I don't know why they do that. I guess it's supposed to give you some extra, it's just not flat. Well, these are flat. These are flat, and it's almost like a towel. You know, it's stretchy and pullable, and I kind of demonstrated it in that particular Trader Joe's video. But these are like, so far, I kind of feel like these are the find of my year. I love these as a micellar wipe, and they're just, for all the reasons that a wipe is, you know, beneficial. I love that it's actually bigger than some of the other ones that you buy in the drugstore. So you have a lot more surface area. You can use clean areas on all areas of your face. And so my face feels refreshed. It feels moisturized. It's a fabulous formula. I love. The last thing I want to talk about is your recommendation and comparison. I had been talking about the Shiseido cotton squares and how they became my life. And I thought they were reasonably priced for what they were. It was $10 for about 165. I finally got to CVS because y'all were like yelling at me. You're like, no, you need to try the ones at CVS because they're much cheaper and they're basically a dupe. It's by Beauty 360, which I believe is CVS's kind of brand name. It's the Ultra Premium Cotton Squares. These are, you can't see anything, but these are phenomenal. They're about $4 for 150. They are the best drugstore cotton wipe of any sort I have ever gotten. Better than Swispers, better than some of the cheaper ones, better than Up and Up. I've kind of tried them all because they all, to some extent, piss me off. These are just really soft. They stay together nicely. They are very, very, very close to the Shiseido. Love it. Thank you so much for the recommendation. What was your favorite product this month? Please let me know in the description box below. If you enjoyed your time with me today, I do hope that you have already clicked the like button because that That means a lot to my channel and helps support me and all that I'm trying to do here. If you're not one of my subscribers, I invite you to be. And like I said, if you already are, thank you so much for being a subscriber. And if you're brand new, welcome. Thanks again for spending some time with me. I hope you have a really good rest of the day. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.
This is the blush, the mineralized brush. I can never get those words right. Blush and brush. They are not the same word. They do have a different letter. Not according to my own brain, apparently. Without, am I trying to talk too fast? I don't know. What the heck is going on?